Okay, now it's time for my next video review, the 1993 Mario Van Peebles film Full Eclipse. So once upon a time when I was in middle or high school, I was up late watching television, came across the movie on Black Entertainment Television, or BET, which is funny because I'm probably the whitest person in all existence. I didn't really understand what was going on due to my age and the fact I had to keep the volume down to avoid disturbing family members who actually were sleeping. But every so often, I'd remember the film and I'd try to find it again online, but I could never figure out what it was. I eventually found it in a Facebook group dedicated to older horror movies. And by older movies, I mean for the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. Don't we all feel desiccated now? And so, thanks to some YouTube piracy, I was able to watch it again and figure out what was going on. So, let's start with the plot. So, Los Angeles police detective Max Dyer, played by Mario Van Peebles, and his partner Jim Sheldon, played by Tony Dennison, are going to a nightclub where all the people have been taken hostage by a gang. Jim, having just announced his intention to marry his girlfriend and retire at three-fourths pension, is of course shot and left comatose. But after fellow officer Doug Crane, played by Jason Beghe, injects him with a mysterious golden serum in the hospital, he's back on his feet and ready to fight with nary a scratch. And when some gangbangers do a drive-by on the donut shop, yes, a donut shop, how cliche, he lights into them with gusto, like superhuman, jumping from car to car, surviving gunshots gusto. I mean, dang. Meanwhile, Max is spending too much time at work, and that's causing problems with his wife Anna, played by Victoria Rowell. When Anna goes back to her mother's place in Texas, Adam Guru, played by Bruce Payne, invites Max to a supposedly a support group for troubled cops. It turns out they're up to some crazy vigilante stuff, and they're not entirely human. Uh-oh. So let's start out with what I liked. The movie starts out with a absolutely massive cop movie cliche. The protagonist's partner is going to retire and then he gets killed, but deliberately inverts it. I was actually pleasantly surprised. I was about to go like, oh no, not this, and then, oh, wait a minute. I like the overall concept. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail for spoiler reasons, although it should be pretty obvious from the title, but it's very creative, I thought. And Max displays a surprising amount of common sense for a horror film protagonist. When things start getting weird, he reports it to superiors, only they brush him off. He does some of his own investigative work, and when things get even weirder, he doesn't jump right in. In fact, he actually tries to get the hell out of there. Things don't work out, but at least he tried. And Payne does a good job as Guru, especially when he's angry. He has some good one-liners to throw out. Also, 90 minutes long, it's relatively tight. It moves quickly. Given what this type of movie it is, that's not a bad thing. In fact, it's pretty good. Also, I didn't expect the film's ultimate ending, but it makes sense given the characters. Now here are some things I didn't like. Some of the dialogue is either weak or just really unsubtle. Also, although Payne is good, Mario Van Peebles himself is kind of meh in terms of his acting ability. Also, Guru's group is too big and you don't really get to know them very well. It would be better if there were fewer of them and you went more to their backstory. So there are two women in the group. There's Lisa, played by Paula Marshall, and Casey Spencer, played by Patsy Kensit. Since Lisa's story is so minimal, and she's not even really in there that much, it'd be easier just to merge them together. It would make Casey more conflicted, more interesting, and that's really a good thing because most of those minions aren't really well developed. And the foreshadowing before the big review is a little too on the nose, like Adam Guru and Max's surname being Dyer. That's up there with the original Battlestar Galactica's Count Iblis or Harry Potter's Remus Lupin. It's very obvious what's going on. Also, in one scene, these characters are having a conversation. There are some really strange cuts. It's rather distracting for what's supposed to be an important conversation. And finally, there's some late game actions by the villain that don't make a lot of sense. So here's my verdict. I gave it a 7.5 out of 10. It's worth seeing once. Maybe you can find the DVD used somewhere and then resell it or put it in the leave a book, take a book bin at the park when you're done with it. But it's really not substantial. Given the concept, I thought it could have been better.